Oh my God, I came up with something even better. I mean, it's still the same thing, but because I'm trying to narrow it down to this box and these keys, and I've got the whole storyline sorted. But then I'm thinking, there's this other movie that I really love, this rom-com, and it's a Drew Barrymore, and it's called Never Been Kissed. And she goes undercover in a high school to blow the lid on, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, cafeteria food, or I don't know, I can't remember I can't remember what it was. But she goes undercover as a teenager in the school. Our investigative reporter, John, we're going to call him John for now, goes undercover as a woodworking teacher. Like when he's doing his investigative thing, like he sees that their local school needs a woodworking teacher, and he can do that sort of stuff. Like it's what he does for his anxiety and stress and depression and that. Like he makes things out of wood with his hands. So he applies for the job. And I mean, how many woodworking teachers are going to want to pack up everything to go and work in a remote part of Ireland sort of thing? So, of course, he got the job. He's got the skills. He knows what he's doing, and they kind of really don't care. So he gets the job like it's not really hard for him, right? Okay, so then he's in the perfect position to get to know everyone, to figure out who the subject of his investigation is about. And once he figures it out, they meet, they get to know each other. She tells him the story of the curse, um, and like how it said that when the right keys come together, the animals bring the right keys. They come together, they form like a key that unlocks the box. And there's heaven on earth. The curse is lifted, and heaven on earth springs forth from the box, or something like that. But I have to make it sound like all Celtic-y and sort of occulty and spoopy. And yeah, so then what I'm thinking what's going to happen is, right, he makes her a box to keep the keys in, to keep her, the keys in, that the animals had bought that she'd inherited. He goes to make her the box to keep the keys in and offer it as like a gift when she finds out what he's done. And so, like, she's got the box. He's made the box. They have the falling out. They have the fight. Blah blah blah. Truths are revealed. He sees what he sees. She's like, get out. Rain clouds. Blah blah blah. He gets the call to say you need to come home. And then he finds the key. And it just so happens that the key fits the box. But he only just made the box, so how could it fit? How could the key fit the box? It was only supposed to be like for show, an aesthetic thing, but somehow this key fits the box. Because it will say, about the curse for the men, and he's like, oh my God. So he's sort of looking at the key, and he's like, I need to go and see if it fits the box. And obviously when he gets there, she's not there, and then he comes back and she's there, and then they put the key in the box and it fits perfectly. So then she's able to put her keys in there, and then it'll say, like, about how life will spring forth on the earth from there, sort of thing. It's like it's going to sort of fast forward to them, like they've got married and she's pregnant, right? And in the box that he carved her, that she keeps all the grandmother keys in, she's going to do a thing where she'll take like a handful of seeds from lots of different flowers and put them in a pouch and lock them in the box. And then you'll see the baby that she has grow up and take, like where she's telling the daughter the story, right? And then when the girl gets married, she chooses like one of the things that like she's got to pick the seeds out that she wants to grow in her garden when she gets married, and then like she locks the um, box up, and then the seeds are handed down to her daughter, and then her daughter, and then yeah, do you see what I mean? So we're going to start like a whole thing where it starts with the man giving his woman the box. So in real life, the man can make the box, the man can buy the box and put his little like engagement ring or, his promise ring or whatever, the key to a car, whatever. It's going to be a gift box for the man, and then she can put her things in it that they can use to then hand down to their daughters, to hand their husbands, or their sons to hand their wives, and start like a whole thing by planting seeds. Like she'll in each pouch there'll be say like 20 seeds from 15, 20 different kinds of flowers in the world in separate pouches kept in this wooden box that her husband gave to her, hopefully even built for her, because he'd do it at the woodworking shop. How beautiful would that be if my man turned up with a box that he made, even if it was like the weirdest colours and was wonky and had like a slightly skew lid or whatever? I'd cry and worship it like it was like the Holy Grail. That would just absolutely melt my heart, kind of stuff. Like handmade cards and handmade birthday cakes and things like that. I would, hands down, if he went out and picked the flowers from our own garden, like hands down, that sort of thing means more to me than anything bought. So if he turned up with a box that he made, would that not just melt your heart? If it had like the engagement ring or the key to your car or the key to, he's giving you a key to his apartment, or do you know what I mean? Oh my God, how romantic would that be? And then that starts like I said with the Welsh spoons. So we can start like a whole thing with these little boxes based off that movie. So now I'm thinking we could call the movie something like The Love Box, or the Woodwork Teacher, or yeah. So then it mixes kind of like Practical Magic, Hello Again, and Never Been Kissed. That just does that not just scream British movie though? He probably needs to be from somewhere like London or Edinburgh, one of the big fancy schmancy cities, where it would be quite the culture shock to be in some, beautiful quaint little village in Ireland somewhere. And then we'd have to find a town that was okay with letting us film there. Unless I could get the foundation done fast enough that we could make the foundation look like an Irish village. You never know. Oh my God! So yeah, so that's what it's going to be. He's going to go undercover. Because I was sitting there thinking, well, if he's kind of snuck into the village, what is he like? Does he just sit at the window and stare? Like, what's his excuse going to be that he's even there? That he's just suddenly moved into a house and doing what? So I was thinking, like, is he going to be a journalist from home, but people don't know he's a journalist and they think he just does what? Like, who just randomly, but if he's there because he's got a job there, that makes more sense. and it just happens to be with him doing what he loves. And then, yeah, because he's happy and he's actually doing what he loves, and he's around people who don't give a crap, they don't know who he is, they don't care about any of that, like, he relaxes and he starts to, like, find himself again and really start to enjoy the things that they're making at woodworking class. And then, because then the great thing is, because he's going to be like a high school teacher, it gives the kids at the school the opportunity to actually do some acting, and they can actually, like, act being school kids and stuff in the movie. So instead of it being more about like him and her in the village, it's like it's going to actually include the kids. And oh my God, that's so, we can make like little Halloween boxes, we can make little Christmas boxes, offer them. So my woodworking teachers and that, because I really want to try and do the sort of woodwork where you're not really relying on too many nails and that. We had to learn how to like fit the grooves and stuff together and use wood and that, as well as like having to use things with nails. And we got to do some awesome stuff, that copper art, remember? And then you'd fill the back with wax and it would be all pushed out and like all that sort of stuff. We're going to offer all those sorts of classes. Hands-on skills. These are all trades in that with AI and the digital countries, these skills are going to get lost, and we need to pick them back up again, which is why it would help having different foundations in different countries. Because, like, for example, if we built a foundation in Japan, they would be able to come and teach some of their old, like their teapot making. They could off, because we're going to have like a pottery class, a pottery shop. So, a foundation in Japan, they could learn, they could teach people how to make Japanese teapots, and then it keeps the tradition alive. And it's a bit of fun and it supports the kids. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, but my foundation will be like the template for all these sort of things, and then the kids can just come along and sign up. And, when they come and enroll at the school, they can sign up to, like, we'll give them a tour of everything we're going to offer, and then they can sit down, have a think about it over a meal, and then sign up to whatever classes they want to have a go at. And if it's not for them, they just don't have to come back to class. But, if they end up really enjoying it and they get to make money out of it, or, take gifts home, they'll be able to go home with gifts and things like that. And their family and friends and that better be supportive, because yeah, the parents and guardians and that'll need to understand that if these kids are coming home, you better blimmin' support them. So, and our doors will always be open, even like 20, 50 years later. If any of the kids that come to stay with us need to come home, our door will always be open. They will always have a key to our gate. As long as they keep their little key, they'll always have a key to our gate, even like 50 years later. So, yeah, so we're going to start a tradition with those boxes, and that's going to be the story. He's going to go undercover as a woodworking teacher, and then they're going to start a whole thing where you put all different seeds in those boxes and then hand them down to your children. He made the box, she plants it, she puts the seed, Dad makes the box that she puts the seeds in, and together they'll grow a whole tradition just from the Adam and Eve box and seed thing. They'll get to grow like a tradition that will be passed down for as long as there are seeds in that box. someone like me might need to take a couple of seeds, but I'm sure there's billions of people out there that could like grow a different thing from a single seed. But you know, it's all about planting the seeds. And then, because what my mum used to do is every time we moved, she'd just dig up her roses. Because my mum, whenever like any of the women in her family died, she would plant a rose bush, a rose, you know, a rose. Is it? It's not a bush, is it? That's how little. Oh, I love them though. That's all that matters. A rose tree. Is it a tree? Because a bush is a bush, and what I've a yeah a different rose plant, tree, bush, whatever for the different women. And every time she'd move, she'd dig them up and take them with her. There were some plants that she would pick up and move with her everywhere she went. And that's what we're going to start. I'm going to start that tradition for my mum, because she loved gardening. She loved nothing more than being out in the garden. And she was good at it too. She could grow things just from little snippets. She would go around like public gardens and, you know, posh gardens that you could walk around in that with their little secateurs and take little snippets and then go home and grow them in the saucer in her kitchen to like sprout the roots and that and then put them in her garden. I'm telling you. But she could do it though. She knew how to do it without hurting the plants, and my sister Paula as well is exactly the same. Veggies, and she has her own bananas, grows her own bananas, and so it's just earth signs, eh? So yeah, so we're going to start a whole thing based on my mum. She always was drying out seeds for things, and oh God, I'm getting emotional. I grew up watching her face down, bum up, like along like the waterways, picking out certain plants and stuff like that to use for things, and drying stuff along the windowsills, like tissue paper with seeds in that drying where they'd be sprouting, where she'd like be dropping little bits of water on them to get them to grow. And I grew up, yeah, with just the kitchen windowsills and all that, like full of saucers with things growing roots on them, and that was my mum. She taught me how to love the earth. And it might not have been my gift, but it was certainly hers. She could do the most amazing things with wool and like cotton and material. Anything like textiles, and she just the fashions that she could come up with. She started a whole trend in her town based on one skirt that she designed. That had poodles on it, because she was really good at copying like American fashion and that. And in small town Foxton, that was a big deal to be able to wear the clothes of like American movie stars that they used to see at the pictures. Yeah, so she was somewhat of she had a name for herself as like a bit of a seamstress and fashion designer. And my dad used to call her Pooh, short for poodle, because when he met her, she was wearing a poodle skirt that she had made herself. He said she looked so beautiful and so like sweet and pure, and that he knew there and then he was going to marry her. And he looked like Elvis, and he was rich, so she snagged herself. And Elvis Presley looked like who sung like Bing Crosby. So yeah, but see, my brother John, he used to like build shelves, Capricorn, Earth sign. Like incredible with like, building things out of wood and fixing things made of wood. And yeah, that was my brother John. Even like my brother George, he's really arts and craftsy. Like him and his wife used to take things and paint them up and sell them in like a little craft store. And um, I bought a potato box off him. He's why I have my potato boxes. He got me on a whole trend of having potato boxes. So that he would make himself and that. So my sister Paula can bake like you can't believe. She so much so where she was actually a baker in a supermarket. My sister Laurie could bake, but she could also decorate. She took cake decorating classes. My sister Erin, it's hair and fashion. So my sister Marion could play bass and sing, and my dad could play drums, and I used to be able to play guitar and keyboard, and so we were quite the family. And it's like, what happened? It's like we can't let our children lose these skills, because these are the things that we're really supposed to be doing for jobs, the things that we love. And I love to create, and I love to inspire, and I love to create things that entertain people. I don't want to be the entertainment per se. I'll lend my voice to things in that, but I want to be able to. I want to be the one that puts on the show, not the one who performs the show. I was thinking as well. I would love to, because I was watching a biography about Madeline McCann and how she started on Broadway, and I was thinking, you know what, we might only be a little theatre, but if there's any kids or staff out there that want to, like, put on our little version of a Broadway show, why not? It's like if you're staying at the Oak Tree Inn, Royal Oak Tree Inn, or you've got a spare couple of hours to waste one Thursday night, and you want to come down and spend $5 to come and sit and watch some kids or some whatever's Broadway show, come down and do it, because it's like it's it's all about giving the kids skills to learn, trying their hands at things that they may really enjoy and be good at, make money, and showcase their talents and skills in that. For everybody who participates outside of me and the staff and the children, it is all about coming together to support the kids. It doesn't matter if it's like going to end up famous or popular or anything like that. It's been there to support the kids, just like you would if it was your niece or your nephew or your kid putting on a Christmas pantomime in the school hall. It's that exact same thing. So all of that just by making him a woodworking teacher. And that's how you know you're on the right track, because it starts with planting one seed and then just seeing where it grows from that, and it will always sprout up into something. And from just me finishing that RomCom and making a couple of changes to his job and the kind of keys and what you use the box for, it's turned into a whole beautiful branch of the foundation that I had never even had the time to tell you about yet, because I've been so busy focusing on everything else and trying to clear Vladimir Putin and Russia's names for slanderous, scandalous lies and immoralities. But I'm here now. So, yeah, I might just take some time to rest. I've been really knocking my pan in. But I need to get it all clear in my head so that wherever it is, where my feet land, once they hit the ground, I'm not going to stop running. Like, I've got a lot to do. I'm going to need a lot of hands on deck, really quick. But I think I can do it. I'm just waiting on God to give me the green light. Once I know exactly where I'm going. Once I get justice and I know exactly where I'm going, pa-chung, I'm off. I'll be like a slingshot, being catapulted, woo, to my destination. Where it stops, round and round and round I go. Where it stops, no one knows. But I'm up for the adventure, that's for sure. I'm ready to go now. I really want to get out of here before the leaves change, if you don't mind. Thank you very much, please. Okay, I'm going to go now. I'll speak to you later. Ka kite anō.